Calm before the storm, although a broader Middle East war between Iran and Israel seems to have been averted, at least for now. The IDF is on the move, launching a major counterterrorism operation in northern Samaria and rescuing an Israeli Arab hostage from a Hamas tunnel. So what can we expect next? Here with more from Israel is JNS Jerusalem Bureau Chief Alex Traiman. Alex, good to talk with you again. It seems like there's a bit of an eerie calm, a little bit, in Israel right now, but danger still lurks everywhere. So tell us about the reason for this latest operation in the West Bank.
Well, there's been constant operations really since October 7th and even before in the West Bank, which is known in Israel as Judea and Samaria, particularly in the northern Samarian areas of Tulkarem and Jenin and also the Palestinian town of Farah. The reason why we haven't seen all-out war between forces in Judea and Samaria and Israel is because Israel has been going in with significant intelligence and hyper-focusing military activities on specific terror groups, small groups, as they arise.
Well, many people around the world were elated to see hostage Farhan al-Qadi rescued from that Gaza tunnel. What have we learned about that rescue, and how is he doing?
Well, first of all, he was rescued from an area in southern Gaza. It was an area that the United States didn't want Israel to be operating in to begin with. But the lesson here is that as the war goes on, Israel's intelligence gets much, much stronger, both from the individuals that they've arrested inside Gaza that are providing significant intelligence. They understand the mapping of the elaborate Hamas tunnel network to a much greater degree, the ways in which they go into the tunnel to reduce deaths to Israeli soldiers, to reduce conflict inside the tunnels, has made these operations more successful. And I do believe that they will be more frequent as the war continues to go on. Farhan al-Qadi, a 52-year-old Bedouin, he's not Jewish, a Muslim hostage, was recovered by Israel. And though he was malnourished and weak, he was in generally good condition and was returned home to a happy family.
Well, that's wonderful. We're all happy to see that. Egypt and Qatar are still pursuing negotiations for a possible Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. I guess an Israeli delegation is now in Doha. What's holding up an agreement there?
Well, I understand that the Israeli delegation is actually back home in Israel. Hamas didn't send direct representatives to the negotiations. They're negotiating through their interlocutors in Qatar and Egypt. Qatar has been hosting the senior leadership of Hamas in their country for many years, including Khalid Mashal and Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed in an Israeli assassination in Tehran just several weeks back. Egypt also, which was believed for many years to be a mediator between Israel and Hamas. These tunnels have been uncovered, especially along the border, the Philadelphia corridor, going from Gaza into Egypt. One major tunnel, which was wide enough for 2 trucks to go through, passed directly under an Egyptian army base. So it's become very clear to Israel that Egypt has actually been working with Hamas and hasn't been a neutral mediator between the parties. It's not clear that there's going to be a hostage release anytime soon, despite the wishes from the United States and from many in Israel that would happen.
On Israel's northern front with Lebanon, we saw many rockets, about 300 fired in one day at Israel. Earlier this week, Chuck Holton did a story talking about 300 million U.S. taxpayer dollars annually going to the Lebanese army, and some of it ending up in the hands of the Hezbollah terror group. So what have you learned about that?
Well, yes, there's been a lot of money going into Lebanon and much money that's been going to Iran from the United States and a foreign policy which is, basically allowed Iran to bypass sanctions, reduce sanctions against Iran. All this money gets funded to the terror proxies, including Hezbollah. Any money that goes into Lebanon is going to end up in the hands of Hezbollah, and they've just used this money to build a terror arsenal, a weapons arsenal against the state of Israel. Hezbollah has over 150,000 to 200,000 missiles and rockets pointed at Israel. Many of them are long-range rockets. Several of them are precision-guided, could hit strategic targets deep inside Israel, inflict significant damage. But as we saw on Sunday morning, when they prepared a massive barrage against Israel, Israel acted preemptively, striking just moments before a 5 a.m. Scheduled barrage from Hezbollah and removing between 50 and 60% of the threat, using 100 aircraft to take out thousands of terror targets, which not only saved Israelis on Sunday morning itself, but have prevented many future attacks against the state of Israel.
Finally, Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei has expressed openness about re-engaging with the United States on its nuclear program. So what do you think? Is that a good idea, bad idea to enter talks with Iran on the development of their nukes?
It's a terrible idea. Iran has been developing an illegal nuclear weapons program for years. At the same time, you see the malign activity